Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of my 6.82 changelog analysis. We're going to resume with Conquer, and change is X marks the spot cooldown reduced from 30, well, rebalanced from 13 to 14, 13, 12, 11. Not a big change really. Just means max level you're going to be able to cast it a little bit more. Level 1 you're going to be cast it a little bit less. Not a change at all. Legion Commander. Enabled in captain's mode. So on its own, enabled in captain's mode, I think she was a really strong hero at all levels of play. She was really strong in pubs, and I'm pretty sure she's really strong in competitive. But with these nerfs here, I'm pretty sure she'll be a lot more balanced. So dual no longer disables passives. This really needs to happen, I think. So for example, like a lot of these changes in this patch, the Morricans are like buffing sort of more of your carries with passives like anti-mage and PA. So for example, she would dual up PA and just turn off PA's evasion, which was huge. Same as anti-mage, she would turn off anti-mage's mana break and anti-mage's spell shield. So that was huge. So her no longer disabling passives is really big. Honestly, it's really big. I'm really happy with that change. Overwhelming odds, which is her nuke, the damage on that has been reduced by 20 at all levels, which is nice. No longer is she just going to drop down that nuke and do colossal amounts of damage, especially if there's a lot of units there. That nuke is very strong, I feel. Press the attack, which is arguably her best sub-ultimate ability, in my opinion. That is a lot less spammable at early levels now, which really needs to happen. It's also nerfing her jungle game quite a lot. I mean, jungling her isn't that great. I'd really rather just take her sabling, but yeah, that's going to really nerf her jungle game. And again, like 110 mana at early levels on a strength hero, that is a huge amount of mana. Like that's a lot less spammable. You really got to pick who you use that on, and like when you use it, how often you use it. Okay, so moving on to Le Shrek. Pulse Nova damage has been increased by 80, 120, 160 to 100, 130, 160. Okay, so that's like, overall that's not a damage increase, but it is at early levels. And pretty much the same with the Aghanim Scepter. The Aghanim Scepter is used to be 100, 160, 220, and it's now going to 160, 190, 220, so that is a very nice change. It's kind of like, and with the activation cost being reduced, it used to be 110 at all levels, so it's very expensive at level 1. That's why no one really took it. They'd max Stun, Edict, and Lightning Strike before a lot of people do this, before even leveling Pulse Nova, because the mana cost was just so obscene on it, like 110. So now it's 70. 70 that's not a lot of mana, really. That is that's 40 less mana at level 1. So he's really trying to encourage people to pick that up. That level 6 ultimate. I mean, I don't think people pick it up at level 6, but I still think people pick it up a lot earlier now, maybe. We'll see. The damage has gone up and the cooldown and the cost has been reduced, so that's nice. Lich's Ice Armor now slows ranged heroes for the full amount instead of half, so another buff to Lich's Ice Armor again. That's just sort of to even it out. I don't think that was necessary, really, to be honest. Like, Lich is really good, but I guess he just wants to make ranged heroes counter ice armor a little bit less. Light Strike Array cast range has been increased by 25, so she's got even more range. That's her stun, I think. Yeah, that's her stun. And the stun duration has been increased from 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 to 1.6, 1.8 to 2.2. So 2.2, that's like a 0.3 second increase. That is really nice. That's like more akin to Slithering Crush on Slardar, so I'm really happy to see that. Making her a bit better. I still think she's a really good hero. That's not a huge change, but honestly, it is actually. It's like an AoE stun for 2.2 seconds. That's really nice. I like these Nuki supports. They're really cool to watch. I hope she eventually starts getting picked up. Spike damage has been increased by 20 at level 1, 10 at level 2, and remains the same at level 3 and 4. So that's just a little bit of a buff to Lion's early game damage there, because a level 1 Earth Spike doing 60 damage, kind of a pitiful amount of damage, to be honest. Lone Druid Spirit now has 300 mana, so items like Dagon and Mechanism now drain a mana pool. They can't just be used indefinitely. when they're off cooldown. So that's quite nice. I don't think that's that much of a nerf though, because you didn't really pick up that many mana items on Lone Druid in the first place. And a little bit of a buff here. Spirit Bear using Hand of Midas now grants CXP to the hero, Lone Druid himself, instead of the bear. I didn't realize this actually happened, but apparently it did. So this is actually a quite nice buff. I think pro players already knew this, so it's not that much of a buff to them, but to pro players, it's nice. Shapeshift no longer grants 1.5 base attack time. That's quite a huge nerf. Shapeshift cooldown increased from 100 to 70 to 40 to 120, 90, 60. Okay, so the cooldown has been increased quite considerably. 20 seconds at all levels. That's pretty big, to be honest. Like, especially at level 3. Like, wow, that's pretty big. Shapeshift speed has gone through the roof though to 650, but this overall I still think is quite a big nerf, because Shapeshift now has a 1.5 second transformation time, which is like, I'm pretty sure that's a bit longer than Lone Druid's. Like, that's huge. Like, before you try and gank Lycan, and he'd just instantly react with pressing R and running away. Like, but now he's pressing it and he's standing there for 1.5 seconds. That's a lot of gap closure you're getting on him. Like, really, that's a big nerf. I feel like overall he's just been nerfed. I think that could be a little bit too much, but we'll see. I don't think he will fit in this meta too much with the tower and pushing changes. Empower is no longer removed by spell immunity, so like if you empower a PA and she BKBs, it's no longer removed. That's really cool. Empower mana cost has been increased from 40 at all levels to 30, 40, 50, 60, so that's not a huge change really. Just makes it a little bit less farmable at later game. But just a mana shield damage absorption rate has increased from 50% to 60%, so 10% more absorption of damage. That's really nice. Like, she needs more tank, because she's really quite tanky now. Mystic Snake outgoing speed has been increased from 633 to 800, so it goes out quicker, it chains faster. Mystic Snake return speed has been reduced by 33, so it comes back a tiny bit slower. Mystic Snake mana still increased from 20, 30, 40, 50 to 20, 35, 50, 65, so it steals quite a bit more mana. Personally, I still don't like this skill. I would much more, like, if I was just playing her as a hard carry, a late game hard carry, which most people play her as, I would not even level Mystic Snake. That's my personal preference. Maybe for lane domination, you would want Mystic Snake. I don't really have many professional players to compare to, because I didn't watch Dota 1. I didn't play Dota 1. So really, I can't really compare skill builds with that. But that's nice. Mystic Snake is being it's buffed a little bit, so it's quite a bit more viable. I think the hero is a lot nicer now with that 60% damage explosion. Like, that's really nice. Meepo clones, that's a quality of life change for Meepo. I'm glad to see he hasn't been nerfed this patch. I really was anticipating a nerf. Meepo's cloned boot item slot now match whichever slot Meepo Prime has his boots in. So basically, if you had boots of travel in slot 4, it would appear in slot 1 on your other Meepos. So now it is in slot 4, so the hotkeys are consistent across all Meepos, which is a quality of life change really, as opposed to anything else. Mirana, leap speed reduced from 2000 to 600, so 1600, so she leaps considerably slower. Still leaps really quick, like 1600 move speed is ridiculous. But leap distance rebalanced from 630, 720, 780, 870, 600, 700. So overall, I kind of feel that's like a nerf, because leap at level 1 was pretty good. Now I think it's worse. I kind of nerfed her offlane game a bit. But she obviously leaps a bit further late game. Nature's Call trait magic resistance reduced from 20% to 0%. This is actually a pretty big change. Like, the trains are a lot easier to clear now. Usually you could move them out of magic AoEs. Now that magic AoEs are going to take them down a lot quicker, they're a lot easier to clear. So this push game has sort of been nerfed this patch, but I still think the hero is incredibly viable. He gets nerfed every single patch, and he still comes through into each meta. So Necrophos, Reaper's Scythe added respawn time penalty from 30% to a constant 30 seconds. I think that's a buff, especially early game. That's really good. Early game, like seriously good early game. Like someone's respawn can be 20 seconds, you put it straight up to 50. That's huge. That's huge. That's really, really nice. Night Stalker. Hunter and the Night attack speed increased from 45, 55, 65, 75 to 45, 60, 75, 90. So quite a nice increase to his attack speed late game. He needs something like that. He needs to be, well, not late game, but at max level. Yeah, that's really nice. Darkness duration increased from 25, 50, 80 to 40, 60, 80. So level 1 darkness is now actually really, really good. It's like a lot closer to level 2 darkness. You get a lot longer of a gank time. That's great. That's what he needs. He needs stuff like that. I still think the hero suffers drastically, like from laning. Like his laning is still awful. I feel like he's really, really difficult to lane mid. But that level 1 darkness, wow, that's really gonna help you catch up and really help you do some damage if the Night Stalker player knows what they're doing. So that's great. Ogre Magi. Base HP regeneration has been increased from 0.25 to 2.5. Holy crap, that is a lot of regen. Like, he is so tanky now. Wow, I'm expecting Ogre mid. Wow. Fire Blast damage reduced from 81.40. So his Fire Blast damage is getting nerfed a little bit, but his multicast chance is being improved. So, say for example, a level 3 multicast when you get your ultimate. A level 3 Fire Blast when you get your ultimate at level 1. Level 6, sorry. You will do 360 damage with a 40% chance instead of 420 damage with 25% chance. So overall, I think that's better. Multicast threat interval has been increased. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Ogre is very, 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 very tanky right now. Omni Knight base armor has been increased by 1, making him a bit more sustainable in an offlane. I still think this hero is really, really, really good, but he's almost impossible to lane right now. That is the problem with him. He's like the hardest hero in the game to lane, fit into a draft and lane him. Against weak dual lanes, he's really, really good off lane, so this makes him even better off lane. And purification damage has been increased by 20 units. That's actually really good, because as previously, you would clip people you were thinking of getting when you purify yourself, or someone else, so that's gonna do it. That's gonna be good. Like, OD, Outworld Devourer. Essence Aura has chance to activate increased from 10, 20, 30, 40% to 40% at all levels. That's really, really good. I think that's an Essence Aura percentage of mana restored reduced from 25% at all levels to 10, 15, 20, 25%. I definitely think people are going to start to change their skill build up with him. Maybe take 2 levels in Essence Aura and then start maxing their Arcane Orb. I think that's what it's called. The first skill, the orb. The orb effect, I think that's really good. I think that's really, really good. Like, that's really cool. Aghanim Scepter, Sanity, Eclipse now always triggers the mana drain. Pretty good. Okay, Phantom Assassin. Blur Minimap Hide now has the opposite effect and is active when no enemies are near. Okay, so previously what it would do is it would, when enemies were near you, you would get a little animation on your cape, you would start blurring, and you would disappear. Your icon would disappear from the minimap. Now your icon is always disappeared from the minimap when no enemies are near. So this is a pretty cool change. It's not massive, but it means actually she's pretty good at ganking, because she can just walk across the minimap and not really be seen. So I think that's really cool. Removed from Captain's Mode. This is Phantom Lancer. So he's had a, I wouldn't say a complete rework, but he's been reworked definitely. Okay, so agility gain reduced from 4.2 to 3, so that's quite a big reduction on his agility gain per level. His base agility has been increased by 6, so he gets 6 extra damage at level 1. I think 1 more armor. If I'm pretty sure he gets another armor. He will do if he gets a branch. So that's really good. His base strength has been increased by 3. So he now gets 30 more HP. Like, his lane ability is huge now. Unchanged from Spirit Lance. So Spirit Lance, his nuke, is exactly the same now. Phantom Rush. Okay, a basic ability for Phantom Lancer or his illusions to quickly close a distance to an enemy. So Phantom Rush. Passive with cooldown. Triggers when issuing an attack order on an enemy unit outside of attack range. It grants bonus movement speed and phase until Phantom Lancer strikes his target. Minimum distance to trigger 300, maximum distance to trigger 600 to 700 to 800 to 900. Cooldown 16, 20, 12, 8, 4. Illusions also have this passive. It doesn't actually say how much movement speed he gets, but that skill in itself is really quite cool. I really like the look of that. Quantum Rush. It doesn't give you any bonus damage. It doesn't give you any. It doesn't say how much bonus movement speed it is, but that allows him to close the gap very, really well. Especially with Diffusal. Wow, that's gonna hurt. Target area. Phantom Lancer and all nearby illusions will disappear for 1 sec. Okay, this is Doppelganger, his new third skill. Target area. Phantom Lancer and all nearby illusions will disappear for 1 second, then have their positions shuffled into the target area. This also creates 2 illusions of opposite types. Illusion 1 deals 0% damage and takes 100% damage. Illusion 2 deals 20% damage and takes 600% damage. Illusion duration is 8 seconds. Cast range 600, target area radius 325, illusion gather range 900, mana cost 50, 25, cooldown is 25, 20, 15, 10. This ability dodges incoming projectiles. Allies can see where illusion takes. So this is really cool. This allows for so many cool plays. Like, you can use this skill, dodge the projectile first. Dodge the projectile, disappear for 1 second, and shuffle the position. So then you can move. You can basically just trick your opponents. You can move one of the illusions that isn't you, and they'll think, "Wow, it's the only illusion. It's the only unit that's moving. It's got to be him." They'll chase that, and you can move away. That's pretty cool. Definitely pretty cool. There's some really cool plays you can make with that. I'm really looking forward to seeing that play out. Okay, so Juxtapose, which used to be his passive third skill, has now been moved and is his ultimate. I'm pretty sure it's the same, but yeah, okay. Grants Phantom Lancer and his illusions a chance to create an illusion when attacking. So the maximum amount of illusions is 6, 8, 10. Illusion duration is 8 seconds when created by the Phantom Lancer. 4 when created by his illusions. That's not a lot. But the hero chance to create an illusion is 50%. That's big. That's quite a big chance. Like, you get a lot of illusions with that. The actual illusion chance is 8%. So that's a very small chance. But when you've got loads of them, you're gonna end up creating like a big army right there. Illusion damage taken is 500%, so they take a lot of damage. They deal 16%. They don't deal much damage, but when you have that many of them, you're gonna be putting out some DPS. It's really nice. Juxtapose illusions attack the target that the passive triggered on. Yeah, just the same as before. So overall, I honestly think it's weird. I don't think the hero is that much stronger. But with that 50% chance to create illusions, he could really get out of hand quick. That's maybe why they nerfed his agility gain. He could really get out of hand quick. We will see. It's really hard to say what will happen there. He's going to create a lot of illusions. And with that Phantom Rush, he can be really quite scary, I think. Added Aghanim Scepter allows Phoenix to cast Supernova on an allied hero, bringing both into the sun to be reborn together. This does not refresh either hero's ultimate 500 cast range. If the sun is destroyed, both heroes will die. Okay, so this is insane. This is so cool. Okay, so basically, it doesn't explain it here, but you can say you have an enigma that black holes 3 heroes. That includes a carry. But he leaves 2 supports that can both cancel his ultimate out of them and go into cancel them. But these 2 supports will not be able to kill the egg because their ultimate attacks are way too slow and don't do enough damage. You bring Enigma into the egg, you're both reborn, well, you're both being reborn, but the black hole is still channeling, so there's literally no way for them to deal with the black hole. It's just there. It's there. Enigma is pretty much invincible. You're pretty much invincible. That's kind of the sort of play you can make with that. That's really cool. I like that a lot. You're going to see a lot of Dota top 10s with that, I think, but you could also see a lot of fails with that. A lot of fails. It's another double-edged sword, but I think that's so cool. Okay, Podge. Turn rate has improved from 0.5 to 0.7. That makes him a lot. His mobility is better, so you can do some more turn hooks. That's really cool. Definitely want to see that hero picked up a bit more. Okay, Puck. Dream Coil no longer ignores invisible units. That's really nice. And or illusions. That's really cool. So that's without Aghanim Scepter. Aghanim Scepter, Dream Coil, Snap, Stun now pierces spell immunity. Aghanim Scepter, Dream Coil, Snap, Stun duration increased from 1.5 to 0.253 to 1.53, 4.5. Wow. Okay, so that's a big stun increase. Okay, so Aghanim Scepter is now really nice, and I think that now has become core on Puck. definitely, because before you would just ignore it. It wasn't that rewarding to get an Aghanim Scepter. I mean, a Hex, a Yules, an Orchid was just infinitely better to pick up. It's like a core item on puck or like a expensive item on puck. But now Aghanim Scepter looks a hell of a lot more appealing. Like really, really, really does. Pugna. Life Drain can now be targeted on allies. Pugna to drain his own life into them. Okay, I really don't think this is as insane as people are saying it is. Purely because if you're standing there, sorry, if you're standing there draining your life into someone you want to heal, the drain rate is actually fairly quick. Like, and Pugna really, really, really doesn't have that much health at all. And you're going to be standing there, and really what they've got to do is kind of target you. I kind of think it's nice, but it's a nice change for utility, but I don't think it will be abused. I don't think it will actually change a whole lot. Pugna is in himself an amazing hero anyway. I don't think that changes as big as people are saying. There is a cool interaction you can do with Wisp, but that's gimmicky. You can basically just you can heal Wisp while he's overcharging you, and he heals you because he gets the HP. It's pretty funny, but aside from that, it's not that incredible. People are going apeshit about that on the internet, but really it just sounds cool. Queen of Pain, base attack time improved from 1.7 to 1.6. Removed unit targeting from Sonic Wave, which is her ultimate. Sonic Wave final area effect increase of 300 to 450. That's really nice. I feel like Hero is actually quite weak, but with the new meta, with the 2 runes and the new gank routes, I really do think Queen of Pain is going to come back into the meta. I would put money on the fact that she would come back into the meta, so I think that's going to help her. I definitely think that's going to bring her towards the meta, so that's really cool. I love seeing Queen of Pain, and actually a lot of these heroes, a lot of these mids, they're getting buffed to sort of like the mids we used to see. They used to make mid quite interesting. Like, I feel the problem with TI4 was a lot of the mids were quite boring to watch. So this is interesting. I like this. Okay, so Razor is getting some needed nerfs. I don't think he's getting too much, but he's definitely getting some nerfs. Plasma field minimum damage has been reduced at all levels. That's really good. Static Link no longer ignores Lincoln Sphere. That's also really good. You know, you can no longer just like drain the Lincoln Sphere Weaver or anything like that, or Morphlink, so he's no longer hard counting as Lincoln's carriers. Static Link mana cost has been increased from 20, 30, 40, 50 to 50 all levels. So this is really big. This is really quite big. So at level 1, basically what you would do, well, in the lane, in mid, when you would lane him, basically you would just cast it on hero whenever you got the chance, rather than drain the damage. They can't last it. Now it's a lot less spammable. You've got to choose when to use it properly, and you need to bottle much earlier. This also nerfs him as a mech carrier, so I think that's really good. I have the Storm no longer lingers through ages reincarnation. That's good. That needs to be removed. Okay, so Ricky is getting a slight rework. Well, I want to say slight, quite a big rework. It's very similar to the Phantom Lance one. So his base movement speed has been reduced by 10, which makes him very, very slow for a melee hero. Base damage has been reduced by 10. Again, that's quite big. His base HP regeneration reduced from 1.5 to default 0.25, because his regen's gone down a lot. But permanent invisibility is now a basic ability, but it used to be his ultimate. Permanent invisibility faded away from 321 to 8642. Permanent invisibility now provides 4, 5, 6, 7 HP regeneration while invisible, and while revealed by dust, he still gets the HP regeneration. It only breaks when he moves out of it. That's really, 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 really good. That makes it, honestly, by those changes, that actually makes it quite a strong offlaner. I think you'd need to get boots pretty early on him, because his movement speed is awful. But I definitely think that is really, really nice. Blink Strike is now an ultimate and can target spell immune. Blink Strike bonus damage from 30, 60, 90, 120 to 50, 70, 90. Blink Strike now has 3, 4, 5 charges with a 30-second replenish time instead of 20, 15, 10, 5 cooldown. Blink Strike mana cost reduced from 50 to 40. Blink Strike cast range increased from 700 to 800. So basically, now you can close the gap on someone really hard with this ultimate, and it can be cast spell means that they just can't get away from you. This is really, really, really cool. I like this a lot. I think this overall is quite a big buff to Ricky. I don't know what kind of skill build people would go with that, with the basic abilities, but I'm pretty sure 2 in his invis would be would be necessary. I don't think living 1 in it would be that great. Because last thing would be, I think it's going to be played as an offlane. I genuinely feel he'll be played as an offlane. We'll see. That's really cool. Shadow Demon getting some small changes here. Soul Capture now applies damage correctly. 20, 30, 40, 50% instead of attempting to redeal pure damage. 50% pure damage. Okay, so that's just a little tweak there. Agnum Scepter gives you 3 charges instead of 2. So we can now, well, that's really quite nice actually. Now we can purge 3 people instead of 2. That's a really cool change. Like a really, really nice change. Agnum Scepter is now considerably better. I think we'll actually see Shadow Demon coming back into the meta with the new gank routes. I genuinely do. I think this could be quite a gank heavy meta with some of the runes being shared to support. So we'll see. Necromancy soul cap increased 12, 20, 28, 36 to 15, 22, 29, 36. Overall, this isn't actually that big of a change because actually it makes him stronger in the lane. Actually, to be honest, because if your leaf is, say you're dominating the lane and your leaf is Necromancy at level 1, which you should do, and then get 2 in his raise, which you should do. You then have 3 more souls than you usually would if you reach the cap. You're going to be doing even more damage. This is going to help him dominate the lane so hard. It really is. I really like exchange. Okay. Requiem of Souls debuff is now applied when the wave hits units instead of in a slightly smaller area independently. Okay, so the Requiem of Soul has to hit them instead of them being in a small AoE. But out of range of it. That's quite strange. But it actually needs to hit them now to apply the debuff. Requiem of Soul slow increased by 5%. That's quite nice. It's quite nice buffs to Shadow Fiend right there. Okay. Shackle's mana cost has been rebalanced from 110, 130, 155, 185 to 140, 150, 160, 170. It's basically the mana cost. Icefrog does a lot of this. He does a lot of changing early mana costs to nerf heroes. Basically, when people think of rebalancing heroes, they don't often think of the mana cost. But if you think about this, when he's a level 1 Shackle is now considerably more expensive, and this hero does suffer from mana. He really does. He really needs arcane boots. And Shackle is now a lot more expensive. I think a Shackle nuke hex at a certain level is not doable anymore. I don't know which level that will be, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. 140. I think you'll need to 140 mana cost. That's big. That's big. That really is big. Mass Serpent Wall cooldown has been increased by 10 seconds. Overall, I don't think these nerfs are huge. The problem is, people were kind of sick of seeing Shadow Shaman, but I think the meta really suited him. I think it's just a push meta. The meta really suited him. I don't necessarily think the hero was overpowered. So I think that's quite nice that he didn't over-nerf him. Glaives of Wisdom percent intelligence has been increased from 30, 45, 60, 75 to 30, 48, 66, 84. Global Silence mana cost from 250, 350, 450 to 250, 375, 500. Okay, so the mana cost of a max level Global Silence and level 2 Global Silence is going up by a small amount. But the Glaives of Wisdom, 84% of your intelligence, that's pretty chunky. That's going to do some damage. I don't know if he's trying to push him as a support, but he's not been really nerfed that much. He's been buffed a bit there, so Silence is still as good as ever. I like that. I like the hero. Might even be played as a mid now, I'm not sure. Concussive shot movement slow rebalanced from 40% to 30, 35, 40, 45%. Concussive shot is now disjointable. Mystic Flare damage is now dealt over 2.2 seconds instead of 2 seconds. So basically with the concussive shot, what people would do and what you should do is max your first skill, which is your nuke, your Scales of Int, leave 1 point in concussive shot for your slow, and max your silence and damage application. But now a level 1 concussive shot is going to be a little bit worse. But a max level concussive shot is going to do 5% more slow, which is good. I don't think that's too much of a nerf. But the fact that it's just jointable is really nice because now Blink heroes and heroes like TA with Meld as examples can now disjoint it, which is really good. Before the patch, it would follow you indefinitely until you were slowed and hit and the damage was down. Mystic Flare damage is now down over 2.2 seconds instead of 2. This is a DPS increase, not an overall damage increase. The overall damage remains the same, but the rate at which you take damage is spread over more time. So that's a little bit of a nerf, not too much of a nerf. I still think that hero is insanely strong. The stance he has is really good. But with the nerf to Void, I don't think we'll see Scarab as much as we used to. I definitely think we'll still see him, which is good because I like watching Scarif, but I don't think we'll see him as much, which is cool. Don't want to see too much of what anyone here, and that's pretty boring, so that's cool. Slardar, Slithering Crush, stun duration has been increased. Early levels, but remains the same at level 4, so yeah, that's good. 1.6 second stun. Level 1, that's good. That's going to make him more laneable and better in an aggressive tri lane, I think. We don't really see enough Slardar at all, so that could make him picked up a little bit more, maybe not. Okay, Slark is no longer visible inside Chronosphere during Shadow Dance. That's great. So that's a further nerf to Void. So basically, that was like the only thing in the game that would like reveal Slark, and it no longer does. So Slark is literally unrevealable now. That's great. Sniper Headshot. This is an interesting change. Headshot now causes a 0.5 second 100 MS and AS slow instead of a 0.25 second stun. Shrapnel error effect increased from 400 to 450. Okay, so now that headshot is like really quite good now. So 0.25 second stun, that was that great. I think that does he still get the extra damage from the proc? I assume he does. So headshot like 0.5 second, basically 100% MS, like a really slow and attack speed slow. That's incredible. That's huge. I think that's better than headshot. I really think that's better. Well, better than the bash. That's great. And the area of effect from shrapnel has been increased. Sniper becoming slightly more viable with every patch, I feel. Okay, Spectral Dagger movement speed change increased from 5, 9, 14, 80%, 8, 12, 16, 20% for a further buff to Spectral Dagger, making Spectre move a bit faster and the enemy move slower. That's cool. Spectral Dagger projectile speed reduced though by 57 movement speed. That's okay. That's not too much of a change to Spectre. Makes her be able to chase down enemies a little bit quicker. Charge of Darkness cooldown has been reduced from 35 to 12 at all levels. That's great. But to compensate for that, Charge of Darkness cooldown is now triggered when charge hits its enemy or is cancelled instead of when cast. So we can't just charge all over the map. That's to compensate, because usually it would probably take you 12 seconds to reach your enemy across the map, so that's to compensate for that. It's clever. Empowering Haste can now be cast to improve the aura by 50% for 6 seconds, 20 second cooldown. After it is used, the aura is 50% weaker while the ability is on cooldown. That's cool. That can give you a really nice burst of speed in a team fight to get to the enemy. I like that. It's more like a centaur, warrunner sort of skill. That's awesome. I really like that. Greater bash damage from 10, 20, 34% to 22, 28, 34, 40% of movement speed. So early levels of bash are considerably better, especially a level 1 bash. So basically skill build now can just incorporate 1 level of bash and then max empowering haste. I really like that. I think the hero is a lot easier to level now. Okay, moving on to Storm Spirit. Ball Lightning mana cost per 100 units. Okay, maths, not maths. Okay, Ball Lightning mana cost per 100 units from 10 plus 1% to 12 plus 0.7%. I think this is a buff. Yeah, I think it's a buff. Don't quote me on that though. I'm really quite bad at maths. I'm afraid. I'm pretty sure that allows him at least, definitely, at later levels to use up less of his mana with Ball Lightning as a percentage. Yes, it uses up 2 more, but the 0.7% means like when he has a high mana pool, he's punished less, I'm pretty sure. So that's good. Added Aghanim Scepter for Sven. While activated, God's Strength grants an allied aura 900 area of effect for 40, 60, 80% of bonus damage. Whoa! Sven is here to pump you up too. Okay, little. Yeah, okay, that's. Okay, support Sven. Like, support Sven is legit now. Like, it was legit before, but now it's confirmed legit. Like, really. Wow. While activated, God's Strength grants an allied aura 900 area of effect for 80% of base damage max level. Wow, that's insane. That's great. Wow. Holy god. Aghanim Scepter changes this patch. Okay, Techies. Everyone's favourite heroes to hate. Is only recently released, but is already getting some changes. Landmines, well, only released in Dota 2. Landmines cooldown from 25, 20, 15, 10 to 19, 16, 13, 10. That's really, really nice. Now we can place mines more often, especially at the start of the game. That's pretty cool. You can now place like three or four mines a lot quicker before the horn blows, which is like basically how you usually get first blood with him. Stasis trap stun duration from 3.456 to 2.53, 3.54. Okay. Okay, so stun duration is actually getting nerfed quite considerably. Stasis trap activation area now matches stun area. Okay, so it's 450, so the activation area is like doubled. Stasis trap duration from 270, 300. What? Stasis trap duration? Oh, okay. 360 seconds it lasts. Yeah, okay. So it lasts in the world for 360 seconds instead of 207 instead of scaling. So 360 seconds at all levels. Remote mine duration increased from 8 to 10 minutes. That's pretty cool. So they're going to last on the remote mines. That's really, really, really nice. Actually, you can stack up a hell of a lot more before they start blowing themselves up. Remote mines vision reduced from 900 to 700, so they're a little bit. You need to place them a little bit closer to where you want them to go off. Remote mines area from 400, 410, 425 to 425. Okay, so 425 at all levels. That's really, really nice. Okay, Bat Riding Firefly, Visage Familiars, Beastmaster's Hawk, Flying Couriers no longer trigger or get hit by Nightmares. So this guy's basically become more of a pain in the ass in pubs, but I really still don't think he'll ever be drafted in Captain's mode. That's just the reality of the situation, in my opinion. I really don't think he will. Especially with the new map, though, with all the new paths, he's going to be so hilariously fun in pub modes. That's going to be fun. But yeah, people are going to hate that he got buffed, but whatever. He's not a very good hero, in my opinion, at all. Templar Assassin Serenade Trap cooldown from 11.97 to 11.85. Okay, so yeah, basically at level 2 and 3, she can place more traps. It's negligible, really, but I think that's kind of cool. Still, Templar Assassin, really, really cool here. Terrorblade has now been enabled in Captain's mode. Sunder cast point has been improved from 0.5 to 0.35. Okay, so like Terrorblade itself is like a really weird hero. Some people think he's awful, some people think he's incredible. Like as a tower pusher, he's insane. He's absolutely insane, and I think competitive teams can really work around that and really cause some damage. I think he's going to be. I definitely think he'll be in the meta. I really do. Anchor smash damage reduction reduced from 60% to 45, 50, 55, 60%. Okay, so he's getting earlier levels of Anchor Smash. That needed to happen. Earlier levels of Anchor Smash are being nerfed, definitely. You can still do Ancients with them, but he's a lot less of a pain to lane against as a melee carry, which, thank God that happened. God, that hero is so annoying. Added Aghanim Scepter for Timbersaw. Grants Timbersaw a second chakram. I don't know exactly how this works. I don't know what the animation is for it. Like, basically, I think you just throw out 2 chakrams. Maybe you get 2 skills. You can pull it each one individually back, like in separate order. I'm not sure about that. Basically, puts the DPS up by a lot. I don't know if it costs more mana to throw the second one, or you throw them both at the same time. I'm not entirely sure about that one. I think there's a post on Reddit that explains it in better detail. I probably should have read that before reading this, but I'll probably link it in the description if anyone's interested. March of the Machines no longer affects spell immune units. Ancient creeps are now no longer affected by March of the Machines as well for Tinker, so this is huge. Well, it's pretty big, to be honest. Like, he can no longer stack and farm Ancients, which is really big for competitive, and pubs who know what they're doing. March of the Machines no longer, so basically you can push uphill with BKB a lot better, and you're not gonna BKB and still take loads of damage in the team fight, which is an absolute pain. So like heroes like Lifestealer will really benefit from this as well. That's really, really nice. I think that's all he needed. Like overall, he wasn't that OP. I don't think he was just insanely annoying. But the fact that he could farm Ancients like he could was really, really hard to deal with. Okay, Treant Protector. Nature's Guy's mana cost reduced from 90, 80, 70, 60 to 60. Added an Aghanim Scepter for Treant. Grants a new ability, Eyes in the Forest, which allows Treant to enchant trees or spy on his enemies and expand the area of overgrowth effects. Treant Protector enchants a target tree. Enchanted trees grant 800 unobstructed vision. If overgrowth is cast by Treant Protector, units near an enchanted tree will be ensnared and damaged. If the enemy has true sight, they will be able to see visual effects on both the affected tree and the 800 area effect around it. Cast range is 160, cooldown is 55, overgrowth bonus damage 135 damage per second, 345 ticks. Mana cost is 100. Overgrowth only does damage if it comes from an enchanted tree. This is insane. 3% enchanted tree. Oh wow, that's incredible. So he basically just gets global overgrowth if he's done the trees right, if he's enchanted trees right. This is like insane. This is really funny. And quite fun. I don't know how this will affect competitive. I really don't know how people are going to make use of this. Clever players will make incredible use of this, but this is really cool. Wow. Okay, Troll Warlord. Ranged Whirling Axes cooldown from 20 to 20, 19, 18, 17 seconds. Acquisition range increased from 600 to 800. This all affects auto attack range. This is now similar. Because Troll Warlord getting a few tweaks there, nothing really that insane. I think the hero needs more than that. Definitely, I don't think the hero is that good at all. But we'll see. We'll see how people make use of him. People have used him as like a support with a mechanism. I don't really know how that works that well. Okay, so Tusker. Ice Shards no longer stops when it hits a hero. That's really kind of cool. I guess you kind of have to cast it where you want it to land though. Ice Shards now travels until the cast location and creates a blockade there. Ice Shards cast range increased from 1500 to 1800. Ice Shards no longer destroys trees. Snowball bonus speed per hero increased from 75 down 100. So Ice Shards overall is getting a kind of a nerf, but it's going to be able to cast a longer range. And Snowball is going to be incredibly quick when there's more heroes in it. And now allies can now click in the Snowball to jump into it, so you don't have to click them. They can click you, so you can now do it quicker. That's really cool. Tusker getting some love there, really, overall. Tombstone, area of effect increased from 400, 600, 800, 1000 to 600, 800, 1000, 1200. Aghanim Scepter Flesh Golem damage amplification increased by 5% at all levels, both minimum and max. Flesh Golem Slow Aura increased from 9% to variable from 5% to 15% based on distance to undying. Same mechanic as the damage amplification. So his Tombstone at early levels is really good. Like, wow. Like, he's going to be even better in an aggressive trialing. His Aghanim Scepter Flesh Golem is getting a 5% damage increase, amplification increase, which is nice. I still don't think that picking up Aghanim Scepter on him is that great, to be honest. Like, I still don't think it is, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't think you ever get far enough to get that. I think you've already won if you're going to get that. Flesh Golem Slow Aura increased from 9% to variable, from 5% to 15% based on distance to undying. Okay, so the closer you are to undying, the slower you're going to be, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. Vengeful Spirit. Never Swap range increased from 650, 925, 1200 to 700, 950, 1200. So basically the first two levels of Never Swap, especially the first level, are going to be longer range. So a level Never Swap is actually a little bit less useless. It's kind of nice. It's not useless, but it's kind of hard to use. But now it's a bit easier to use, a bit more effective. Venomancer. Poison Nova applies its debuff on spell immune enemies. Wow. It still does not deal damage due to its damage type. Okay, but basically, say if someone's BKB'd and they're only on 4-second BKB and you Poison Nova, they're not going to take damage for 4 seconds, but as soon as that ends, they're going to start taking damage. So that's really cool. That's a cool buff to Venomancer. I like that. Okay, Viper. Corrosive Skin now only affects enemies within a 1400 area effect, so skills like Nature's Prophet's Ultimate and Clockwork's Rocket. Like, when you're out of that 1400 area of effect, you're not going to get the Corrosive Skin debuff, which is really nice, because that's so annoying. You can, like, it's going to eliminate all the Dota fails when people die by using globals on a Viper, but Corrosive Skin damage cannot be reflected multiple times, so that's basically just to yeah, basically there's a couple of bugs in the game that would just like constantly give people corrosive skin. But yeah, that's been removed now. So Viper getting a slight nerf there, but he's still as strong as ever, I think. familiar stone form cooldown from 30 to 26. That's really cool. So the stuns on the familiars is the stone form. That's where you drop them and they regain their stacks and stun. So that's been reduced to 26. It's been reduced by 4 seconds. I think that's pretty big. Nice little nice buff to Visage right there. I'd love to see him again. He's a pretty good hero. Pretty good to watch as well. So Warlock's getting a whole plethora of changes right here. So Fatal Bonds now shares the same damage type that is dealt to it before it is reduced. Okay, so basically Fatal Bonds used to be HP removal, but now okay, it now immediately redistributes the damage with the same original source before any reductions. Okay, so the person who's getting hit, and then say if they're getting hit by Mystic Flare, which is magic damage, and the Fatal Bond, well, say Venomancer's ultimate, so everyone's getting hit by Venomancer's ultimate, and the Fatal Bonds is just chaining it and doing more damage. It's magic damage instead of HP removal, so it's reduced by magic resistance. That's cool. Fatal Bonds damage percent has been increased from 20% to 25%. Golem attack range increased from 100 to 225. Wow, okay, so its attack range is a lot higher. Golem base attack time has been improved from 1.35 to 1.2, so it attacks quicker. Golem HP regeneration has been increased 15, 20, 25 to 15, 30, 45. Okay, so it's a lot more sustainable now. Golem immolation effect increased from 250 to 300. Golem flaming fist chance reduced from 60% to 40%. So basically procs that a lot less. But the golem itself is tankier, attacks quicker, and it can attack from further range. That's really good. Because the golem overall I think got pretty much buff there. And Fatal Bond's got a little bit of a change. Weaver. The swarm duration increased from 8, 12, 16, 20 to 14, 16, 18, 20. Sakuchi is no longer ignores invisible units. Sakuchi damage reduced from 90, 110, 130, 150 to 75, 100, 125, 150. Geminate attack can now proc items. So he can double crit, he can double MKB. That's really, really, really cool. Wow, that's insane. Geminate attack cooldown has increased to compensate for that, I guess. From 654 2.5 to 6543. That's pretty cool. Okay, get to the end of it now. Windrunner, Shackle Shot max latch distance has been increased by 50 units. So again, Shackle Shot is going to be, you'll see those Shackle Shots which are just, you completely have no idea how they latched, but they do. So that's going to happen more often. But I think the hero, she's going to say latch to a tree that was 50 units more away. Okay, I like that. Okay, so the max latch. Okay, that's pretty cool. So that's a buff to Shackle Shot overall. Windrun duration has been increased from 2.75, 3.5, 4.255 to 3, 4, 5, 6. So overall, like, a level 1 windrun is now a little bit better, and our max windrun is 1 second better. So she's a little bit more survivable. I really like that. I think the hero is a really fun hero to watch and play. She's kind of weak though, and that sort of helps her be a little bit more viable, I think. Witch Doctor. Maledict area effect has been increased from 165 to 180, so it's a bit easier to land and can affect more heroes, I guess. Death Ward bounces now behave the same as the Death Ward attacks with regards to Blade Mail. Neither redirects damage to Witch Doctor. Okay, so Blade Mail now no longer count as Witch Doctor's ultimate. So Witch Doctor ultimate is getting even more insane. I still think the problem with that hero is that he, especially in competitive, as a lane support isn't that great. Like, his gank ability is okay, but against pros, you kind of need to have complete surprise. Otherwise, if they, especially in team fights, they're just gonna not group up, and the bounce is good, I guess. But like, his other two skills, his heal is way too much mana cost, and Maledict, while it's good, there are nukes in the game that do better, and there are disables in the game that are better than Cask, in a lane at least. But yeah, I'd like to see Witch Doctor with, without there being a void. You know, that's when you only really see people picking them up in competitive. But in pubs, he's insane. Brave King reincarnation mana cost increased from 140 to 160. Brave King getting a little bit of a nerf there. Sol Ring might become a bit more necessary on that hero. And Zeus is static field area effect increased from 1000 to 1200. So a bit of a small change there for Zeus. So we've moved off from the hero changes, guys, and now we're on to the items here. So a fair few item changes, and then the damage type changes at the end. There's also some additional changes at the bottom that I'm not really going to go through. They're just kind of like bots and stuff. I'm really just interested in the balance changes. So Armlet is getting a recipe cost has been reduced by 100 gold. That's cool. I like the item. I'd like to see it used a bit more. It's becoming like it's quite cheap for what you get for it. It's like a lot of strength, and if you toggle it right, good, you know, there are some really good players who have shown that you can if you toggle it right, it's really difficult to deal with. So that the cost being reduced on that is actually really nice. Assault Grace. Assault Aura no longer displays its debuff on the mini if the carrier is not visible. Okay, this is pretty big. So basically, if you were paying attention and you saw a debuff on you, basically the AC was one of them. I think Presence of the Dark Lord is another one of them. But AC, you could basically see it, and if you saw it red, you knew someone was invisible near you, or near you. You knew there was impending danger. So it was like a sort of a key display of, oh, get out of there. So it's kind of like that needed to be removed. Black King Bar. Avatar spell, immunity, duration, and cooldown are now tied to the hero instead of the item. Buying a new Black King Bar will not reset Avatar's duration. Wow. Okay, so you can no longer buy another 10-second BKB. That's huge. It's really huge. But the minimum duration is now 5 seconds instead of 4. So that's nice. BKB always gets nerfed. Buying a new, but the only time you really buy a new BKB is in incredibly long games. So I guess a 5-second BKB constantly, once you got down to it, it kind of helps compensate for that nerf. Blink Dagger has had its cost increased by 100 gold. This needed to happen. I think the item was so good on everybody because of the mana removal. I didn't want him to put the mana cost back on it because I think there were so many fun heroes that were made viable by this change. So the fact that it's just been reduced by 100 gold only really means that people are going to pick it up later and do, and achieve more a little bit later. So I think that's a nice change. It's a bit harder to save for now as well. So that's good. That's good. Bloodstone now requires a Soul Ring and a 800 gold recipe instead of Perseverance. Okay, so you actually save a bit of gold. You save 150 gold by doing that. You need a Soul Ring and a 800 gold recipe. So you actually get less regen while building it, because Perseverance will give you more regen. But the Soul Ring itself is actually more useful. I like that. That's actually really clever. Because Soul Ring is a fairly common pickup, to be honest, and a really nice item. So I like that a lot. Especially, I generally think we're going to start seeing Storm Spirit with that change, because Soul Ring is really nice on Storm Spirit. And being able to build it into a Bloodstone, wow. Like the overall cost of it reduced by 150. Wow, really cool. But it no longer grants plus 10 damage. Okay, that's cool. That's fine. Bottle has been nerfed again. Well, not nerfed, but it's been increased by 50 gold again. It used to be 600, now gone to 650, now it's 700. Like, people don't think 50 gold is that much difference, but the later you get a bottle, the easier you are to move out of a lane, and the harder it is. Like, this is going to encourage people to more pool their mids, because you really need that bottle. If you say you go for a null talisman and tangos, like, you're pretty much 700 gold away from a bottle, as if you were to go like 3 branches and then get pulled 2 tangos, which is super risky and super greedy. Like, you're a lot closer to your bottle, so that's pretty cool. Boots of Travel teleport cooldown reduced from 60 to 50, so 10-second reduction in the cooldown. Boots of Travel are really expensive. Thankyou doesn't get affected by that at all because Rearm, of course, just reduces the cooldown to 0. So I think that's gonna, with Terribly coming back into the meta, that's pretty scary, to be honest. Split push is going to be a little bit stronger, but again, the push has been nerfed a little bit. But yeah, we could still see Rat as a, like, with that change, could be even more viable than it currently is. We'll see. We will see. That change it's kind of cool. I kind of like that, and because I'm a Meepo player, I approve of that because boots of travel are really nice on Meepo. Butterfly. Butterfly now has an active ability, Flutter, which can be cast to trade Butterfly's evasion for a 20% movement speed for 8 seconds. There's a 35% 35-second cooldown on this active ability though. Okay, so when you use that ability, basically, you get 20% movement speed for 8 seconds, but you lose the evasion passive from Butterfly. But this is going to be pretty good on carries because I feel like Butterfly is honestly way too expensive for what you get. I really, really do. I don't think the impact of it is enough. Like, I think the impact of a Daedalus is enough. I think an MKB is kind of really, really strong. And like, if people go for an MKB, not only do they just nullify a lot of the use of your Butterfly, they're also going to deal more damage when they true strike. So when they get the mini bash, I mean. So it's yeah. It's Butterfly. I don't know if that's good enough. But it's going to make it easier to get away. When you're trying to run away, 20% movement speed, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that change. It's an addition. It's a buff. Cloak. Cloak, Hood, and Pipe magic resistance now stack like all other magic resistance do. Okay, that's really nice. You can actually get pretty passively tanky versus magic damage. Okay, Crimson Guard. This is a new item, but it's built from Vanguard and the Buckler. So it adds the cost, I don't like this to be honest, but it adds the cost of a Vanguard and a Buckler together. The Buckler is the item used to make a mechanism, if you didn't know. So it's actually fairly expensive. Okay, so the total cost of it is 3,850 gold. That's a lot. It requires a Vanguard, a Buckler, and a recipe. It provides 250 HP, 6 HP regeneration. It has a passive damage block. It has an 80% chance for 40 damage. Or this is worded weirdly. Passive damage block, 80% chance for 40/20 melee/range. Okay, so it has an 80% chance to block 40 damage if we're melee, and an 80% chance to block 20 damage if we're ranged. +5 armor, +2 all stats. And it has an active ability, gives nearby allied units 750 range, within 750 range, +2 armor, and a damage block shell that has 100% chance to block 50 damage for 9 seconds. Okay. Okay, so that's basically the buckler sort of active, I guess. And then it gives the wearer a chance to, okay, the passive gives the wearer a chance to block damage from each incoming attack based on whether the hero is melee or ranged. Guard only affects heroes, has the same no stacking mechanic. Overall, I really don't think that's worth it. For 3,850 gold, you have to use a buckler, which can be used to make a mechanism. This item in and of itself doesn't stand out to me as very strong. I guess that active is nice. The way they've worded it is like it's 100% chance to block 50 damage. Is it 100% chance to block 50 damage for 9 seconds constantly? So it always blocks 50 damage. Or is it just block one instance of 50 damage? If it always blocks 50 damage, that's quite nice. We'll see how that works out. I don't know if that will be picked up that much. Dagon, intelligence bonus per level increased from 13, 15, 17, 19, 21 to 13, 16, 19, 22, 25. You get a bit more int per level. Energy burst mana cost increased. So using Dagon is 180 at all levels. It doesn't decrease as you level it. So that's a bit of a nerf. It's not a huge nerf to Dagon. Diffusal Blade. Recipe cost has been reduced by 150 gold. Agility bonus has been rebalanced from 25/30 to 20/35, so you can now get more agility from a level 2, but less agility from a level 1. Feedback rebalanced from 20 to 36 to a constant 25. That's nice. So a level 1 Diffusal Blade now does more mana burn, but level 2 Diffusal does less. Okay, but it gets more agility. That's a little bit of a rebalance on Diffusal and a recipe reduction. Ethereal Blade. Everblast now has a projectile that has a movement speed. so it's not instant, but it's not pretty much instant. Yeah, it was instant. We'll call it instant. Ether Blast, so it's now no longer instant. Ether Blast now only turns to cast Ethereal if the target is themselves. So that's actually a really big nerf to Tinker. So now, previously you would use Ether Blade on an enemy to deal a load of damage, and you would go Ethereal. That's actually a big buff to Morphling as well. That's actually a really big buff to Morphling. Because what Morphling would do is he would shotgun someone, and then he wouldn't be able to attack for the duration of the Ethereal. But now he no longer gets Ethereal. He just nukes someone with the Ethereal. That's good. Frost attack speed. Oh, I have Scardy. Frost attack speed slow increased from 35 to 45. Okay, that's pretty cool. So another buff to Scardy. Flying Courier. Now these changes are really interesting. A base movement speed has been increased to 430 from 350. So it moves a lot quicker without the dash. Flying Courier now takes 50% extra damage from melee heroes. Flying Courier speed burst cooldown has been increased from 40 to 90, so it's almost double the cooldown on the speed burst, but on its own it moves quicker. Flying Courier speed burst duration reduced from 20 to 4. Wow, okay, that's huge. So the speed burst duration has been nerfed. The speed burst itself has been nerfed massively, but the speed burst it gets is quicker. So it used to be haste 522, but now it's 650 movement speed instead of 522. That's quite big. That's considerable. But overall, I think that's quite a nerf to the speed burst. Definitely, right? Really, really is. For 4 seconds on a 90-second cooldown. Wow. But on its own, it's quicker. Like bottle crowing, I think is better with that. If you were in competitives, but I think pubs are going to hate that because a lot of people just press the hotkey for speed burst. I think it's going to be wasted a lot, so that sucks for pubs. But I think that's pretty good for competitive. Hood of Defiance, HP regeneration increased from 8 to 9. Lincoln Sphere. Lincoln Sphere only blocks Wrath of Nature's initial bounce. Lincoln Sphere only blocks Lightning Storm's initial bounce. Nether Ward no longer triggers Lincoln Sphere, that's great. Lightning Bolt now triggers Lincoln Sphere when targeted at the ground. That's strange. Maelstrom and Mjolnir no longer trigger Lincoln Sphere, thank God. So that's overall a buff to Lincoln Sphere because Maelstrom and Mjolnir would like, it was retarded the interaction that it would just disable Lincoln Sphere. I hated that. Recipe cost increase from, but Maelstrom has had its recipe cost increased from 600 to 700. It's a little bit more expensive. Still a really, really cool item. Manta Style. Mirror image vision type changed from unobstructed flying to ground. So basically when you activate a Manta, you'd get a brief instance of flying vision. I could see people within a flying vision radius, so you could see people like doing Ancients or doing Roshan. That was really, really quite strong if you know what you're doing. A lot of people use that. It was actually something you would just use and you would just know. Recipe cost reduced from 900 to 800, so it's been made a bit cheaper. I like that. Recipe cost reduced from what? Oh, Basket Madness says its recipe cost reduced by 100 gold, so a bit cheaper to get now. Mechanism restore mana cost increased from 150 to 225. Okay, so the active on Mechanism now has 75. It costs 75 more mana to use, which is pretty big because you previously get Mechanism carriers like Razor and Viper, and now they're going to suffer a lot more. Like it's going to be a bit more of an int-centric item, which I think is definitely really good because before you could just pick it up on pretty much anyone. Pipe of Insight HP regeneration has been increased by 1. Refresher Orb reset cooldown increased from 160 to 185. Okay, so yeah, so Refresher Orb's going to be on cooldown for 25 seconds longer than before. So that kind of nerfs Razor a little bit. Mainly Razor kind of nerfs Tidehunter a little bit. That's pretty good. I think that needed to happen. So you can now sort of take team fights where you're only going to get one ultimate because Refresh is going to be on cooldown. Ring of Protection armor has been increased from 2 to 3, but the gold cost has been increased by 25 to 200. I like that. I like that. Now it's a bit cooler to pick up early because you get that extra armor, but it's a bit more expensive. Sentry Rod's True Sight area effect has been increased by 50, so you can now block with them a little bit more, and they're a little bit better to put in the lane for invis heroes. That's cool. I like that. Shadowblade Shadow Walk invisibility break damage increased from 150 to 175. Break damage. Okay, so when you break Shadow Blade, you deal 175 bonus damage instead of 150. So that's quite nice. That's going to be good on Conquer. Very nice on Conquer. Okay, so Shiva's Guard. Freezing Aura no longer displays its debuff on the enemy if the carry is not visible. That's basically the same thing as the AC. So no longer are you going to see the red debuff when someone's in this next with Shiva's Guard. Townport Scroll has had its gold cost reduced from 135 to 100. So that's going to be great. That's going to be great for supports. That's going to be great for everyone, really. It's going to make the game a little bit more. No longer you're going to have to sort of plan your gold around Townport Scrolls, and it's going to make you sort of scale a bit better, because if you think about how many Townport Scrolls you buy over the space of a game, it's going to make supports a bit richer, and it's actually going to make carries get a bit richer, because carries that CPs of farm like Anti-Mage and Terrorblade are now going to have this sort of more gold to play around with because of the reduction in the gold cost. So damage types changes. Basically, they have removed composite damage, and they have removed HP removal. I'm not going to go over how damage types work, because this doesn't explain it as good as it could. Basically, I'll just explain that as I go through these. So Alchemist Acid Spray damage type is now physical. I read the Alchemist change before, but basically it's no longer, Acid Spray damage is no longer reduced by magic immunity, and it's physical now. So it's reduced by armor, but still pierces spell immunity. That's pretty good change, because armor scales, at least early, scales worse than magic resist. Everyone's got flat 25% magic resist. That's good. Bane, nightmare damage from HP removal to pure. That's really cool. HP removal and pure are pretty much the same, but HP removal wouldn't trigger certain things, because it kind of counted as like this sort of, you could salve through HP removal basically, and it wouldn't cancel it. So that's basically how that works. Wild Axes has been changed from composite to physical, so it's now affected by armor, but it's not reduced by magic resistance, and it still affects ancients. Wild Axes damage reduced. Yep. Primal Split Earth Spirit's pulverized damage reduced from magical that pierces spell immunity to magical no longer pierces. Wow. Okay. So I think pulverized was the stun. So you can no longer stun. Okay, so you can stun people, but the damage no longer pierces. Okay, so you, as Brewmaster, you can stun people with the pulverize, but you will no longer deal the damage. Okay, that's pretty cool. Doom damage type changed from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity. Okay, so to count for the change that it no longer disables passives, it's going to be pure damage instead of that's pretty big. That's nice. It's kind of a buff. It actually is a buff. So it's no longer reduced by magic resistance, but it's not going to be very good against. Yeah, it's no longer reduced by anti-mage, and it's pure anti. I'm just getting caught on my words. So sorry. It's no longer reduced by magic resistance, and yeah, it's pure. That pierces spell immunity, so it still goes through BKB, and it's pure damage. But the damage has been reduced to compensate for that. Yeah. Doom damage reduced from 30, 50, 70 to 20. So a level 1 Doom doesn't do that much damage, but it's pure 35, 50. So damage overall is probably pretty similar, because of the fact that it's pure. Echo Slam initial attack is now the same magic damage type as the rest of its damage. Midnight Pulse damage changed from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity, but the damage has been reduced to compensate for that, from 4, 5, 6, 7% to 3, 3.75, 4.5, 5.25. So that these skills aren't completely overpowered, they basically just reduced the damage from them but made them pure. This is just sort of like a sort of consistency change rather than buffs, but some of them are buffs. Diabolic Edict damage type changed from composite to physical. Still pierces magic immunity, so Edict is no longer reduced by magic resistance, is reduced now by armor. Diabolic Edict damage reduced from 12.5, 25%. So it's actually going to be worse against towers now, like considerably worse against towers because of their armor. Diabolic Edict now does 40 more. Okay, yeah, so I didn't read this part now, but Diabolic Edict now deals 40% more damage to towers. Same overall damage for second as before. So yeah, again, it's not overall a buff. It's just consistency. Laguna Blade Aghanim Scepter damage changed from magical that pierces spell immunity to pure that pierces spell immunity. Laguna Blade Aghanim Scepter no longer increases damage. Only the damage type is changed. Okay. So look, overall this is the same damage against 25% magic resistance. So that's worded weirdly. Okay, so because it's pure, but it's still no long. It doesn't do any more damage because it's pure. Basically, that's the Aghanim Scepter one because of the second change. Okay. 100 Spirit Bear Death now deals 10% max health as pure damage instead of 100, 200, 300, 400. That's overall a buff, really, I think. Not late game, but definitely early game. If you lose the bear. Heartstopper Aurora for Necrophos. Heartstopper Aurora is now negative regeneration instead of HP removal. You will still get credit for kills with it. Okay, so now it's like, say you have 20 HP regen. It minuses that regen and then goes into your health rather than just minusing your health. Pretty much. Yeah. Landmines, you still get credit for kills with it as well. Techies, landmines damage type from composite to physical. Still pierces spell immunity. Landmines damage reduced from 300, 400, 500, 600, 225, 300, 375, 450. Suicide Squad attack damage type from composite to physical. Still pierces spell immunity. So like these skills are better early, but to compensate for that, they've reduced the damage on them. Okay, so they've reduced the damage on Suicide Squad attack as well to compensate for that. And then you have Tinker Maximus units damage type changed from magical that pierces spell immunity to magical that does not pierce spell immunity. Vengeful Spirit, Wave of Terror damage type from HP removal to pure that pierces spell immunity. So that's a buff to like Vengeful Spirit's Wave of Terror. It now cancels Salve instead of not cancelling Salve. I don't know if you knew that, guys, but it now cancels Salve. It didn't used to cancel Salve. Let's have a look. I think it cancels Blink as well. It never used to cancel Blink. Fatal Bonds now shares the same damage type that is dealt into it. Fatal Bonds damage percentage from, yep, read that before. Flaming Fist damage type from magical that pierces spell immunity to magical that no longer pierces spell immunity. I guess that's a nerf to the Flaming Fist proc from the Flaming Golem. Necronomicon, Last Will damage type from pure to magical. Still does not pierce spell immunity. So you can BKB and basically kill the red Necro, is what this is saying. Last Will damage increased though to compensate for that. So if you kill it while not BKB'd, you're going to take 800 magic damage, but it's no longer pure. So it's going to do less damage overall. That's quite nice to change to Necro. Changed from, okay, Urn of Shadows, changed from HP removal to pure. So it's going to cancel things like salves. It's going to cancel things like blink. That's really, really nice change. That's a pretty big buff to Urn of Shadows as well. Okay, so additional notes, basically they've removed composite damage and HP removal is no longer considered a damage type. So they've basically removed composite damage and HP removal. That spells the end of this very, very long 6.82 analysis. Guys, thank you so much. If you stayed for the entire duration, you're incredible. Thank you for watching both parts. Like, if you did. If you only watched part 2, that's fine. There is part 1 if you want to catch up on stuff you missed. I'll try and put timestamps for each individual hero, but that'll probably clutter up most of it. But thank you